Warning: you might find the content herein disturbing, but the truth must be revealed.
Welcome to our program, Ronen Bar Vegan, Bringing Animal Suffering to Light, Part 2 of 3. Today is International Animal Rights Day, an event annually observed worldwide on December 10th to bring awareness that animals are sentient beings like us and deserve freedom, justice and respect. This three-part show features an interview with the brave Israeli journalist and vegan animal advocate Ronen Bar, who well represents International Animal Rights Day's values and shares the story of his mission to highlight the immense suffering endured by animals killed for food. Ronen's worldwide investigations have revealed the truth of the animals' extreme anguish in slaughterhouses and elsewhere to the public. His work has led to wide-scale public debates, class action lawsuits, criminal prosecutions, and new legislation. He is the CEO and founder of Sentient, an international investigative non-profit group working on the behalf of animals being abused by the food industry and others, and the board chairperson for the Modern Agriculture Foundation, an entity that promotes alternative proteins. Ronen believes ending the brutal and unconscionable mass killing of animals in livestock factories is a top priority for our world. He says the other urgent issues that humanity faces, like climate change, enormous global environmental degradation, and severe natural resource depletion, are directly connected to this endless slaughter.
I think we are in the process of animal genocide. Trillions of animals are being massacred by humans each year in the world. We're talking about just between 1 trillion to 3 trillion fish who are pulled out of the ocean each year and die. And that's just fish. That's a major genocide, a very, very big genocide. And this genocide is getting worse and worse, and we see less animals in the wild and more animals who are confined in these factory farming and slaughterhouses and all of these places whose environment are completely 100% built for the economic benefits of corporations, but not for the welfare of the beings who are suffering inside of them. Animal genocide, which climate change is a big part of, but of course it's a much broader problem than just climate change. You have invasive species, you have destruction of land, and so on, which all is interconnected. You burn the inhabitants of the forest, and then you have more cows on this space, and then you have more climate change, etc. I think it's one of the main goals of our generation is fighting this animal genocide, and that includes fighting against factory farming and fighting for sustainability and fighting for climate justice. I hope will bring a stop to this genocide, which is happening in many, many different places and in many different ways. So some genocide is done by burning these forests. Some is done by electrifying the water in rivers and pulling the dead fish out. Some is done by these trolls, these huge nets.
Mr. Bar has been inspired by many other animal advocates and is networking with them to help advance the animal liberation movement's objectives.
There are a lot of activists that I admire. I can mention Ingrid Newkirk from PETA and Nick Cooney and a lot of other activists in Israel and outside Israel who really taught me a lot about humbleness and about being very focused on the goal and about doing things as effective as possible for the animals and about putting the ego aside and about being more professional. So it's really countless. The only reason why I don't say so many names because some of them are so humble that maybe they wouldn't want me to mention their names,
Let's take a moment for a constructive message. We will be right back. Please stay tuned to Supreme Master Television. Welcome back to our program, Ronen Bar Vegan, Bringing Animal Suffering to Light, Part 2 of 3. Raising public awareness of the horrendous animal cruelty occurring in the livestock industry has a positive impact on the numbers embracing veganism. Once they find out what is happening, people no longer want to be part of an utterly inhumane system that takes trillions of animal lives. Israel has the most vegans per capita globally, and Mr. Bar now explains some of the factors that have made his nation a vegan hotspot.
It has to do a lot with the lecture of Gary Yourofsky, which really took off in Israel. It really changed the way people think about veganism and took it from a small esoteric thing to a niche, to something that people know, which is much more widespread. In Israel, we have a quite vibrant and alive animal rights movement, and it includes a lot of different and versatile activities. We have an organization called Vegan Friendly, who's labeling dishes at restaurants and consumer packaged goods on the supermarket with the vegan label, and is doing very big festivals. I'm talking about tens of thousands of people attending their vegan festivals and really making veganism a lot more approachable and easier and talked about in Israel. And we have the most viral and biggest Facebook page in the world for animal rights is ran by an Israeli activist. It's a page in English called Kind of World. It's a wonderful page. We have Challenge 22, which is again, a global service, not only for people in Israel, in many different languages, which people sign up for free, and it's a Facebook group and other free online tools to help people go vegan for 22 days. That's the Vegan 22 Challenge. And we have organizations doing undercover investigations. We have a lot of work to promote alternative proteins. We have 4 cell-based meat companies in Israel. We have other plant-based meat companies. We have 2 non-profits that are promoting alternative proteins in Israel. We have a lot of organizations for cats and dogs and wild animals. I think there's really an abundance of activities in Israel, including a farm sanctuary.
How can other nations replicate Israel's success with respect to their population's receptivity to plant-based lifestyles? Here is Ronen's view.
If a country wants to have a higher percentage of vegans and increase the compassion and increase the technology and increase everything that has to do, all the life aspects that has to do with being kinder to animals and to all sentient beings, the strength and the width of the animal rights movement is very, very important. So I think it's very important for the movement to be divergent, not to focus only on one thing, but you need to do a lot of different things and have a place for a lot of different activities in a lot of different attitudes. And I think, of course, there are the more obvious things. I think learning from what's done abroad is also very important all over the world. And I think the more people start thinking and acting globally, the better the movement will be.
Bravo, Ronen Bar and all the animal activists in Israel for your dedicated efforts to free animals from torment and pain. For more information about Ronen Bar, please visit sentientworld.org and facebook.com/sentientforall. Please join us again on Monday, December 14th for Ronen Bar Vegan, Bringing Animal Suffering to Light, Part 3 of 3, where we will learn how Mr. Bar is promoting alternative proteins to save animal lives. Loving viewers, it has been a pleasure to have you with us today.